Hello, creative friends, and welcome to the Stampin' Squad. My name is Cheryl Dorsey. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Southern California. And if you are watching this video on the day that it posts, it is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. And I just want to welcome you to the squad today. And I'm going to show you how to make a really cute little gift box. It could be a gift box, it could be a treat box, and I'm going to show you a couple different designs today, but I'm excited to show you that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to stamp first, and the stamp set that I am using today is the Festive Friends stamp set. I think this set is so adorable with our little snowman, Santa, and an elf. Look at these pointy ears. It's so cute. So I'm going to be using this stamp set. I'm also going to use dies from the coordinating die set. It's also called Festive Friends. So here you can see some of the dies. I'm going to use the Santa die, so it's not in here. I've already pulled it out. But here you can see some of the other dies. Now it comes with this really cool tag die. It's already got a little hole in it where you can run some thread or some ribbon or twine through there. So today I'm not making tags, but I think in a few weeks we are going to make some tags with this set because it's just adorable. Today I'm also going to be using these Everyday Arches dies. You see there's two missing here. Those are the two that I'm going to use. If you've been watching my channel for a little while, you know how much I love these dies because I use them a lot. So I am also going to use them today. Okay, let's see if we can get started here. I'm going to start with stamping today. So first I'm going to stamp my Santa image. I'm going to use my Memento black ink. So let's open that up and ink up our stamp. Sometimes when I have a bigger image like this, I find it easier to just put my stamp on my surface here and then turn my ink pad over and apply the ink this way. I feel like I get better coverage if I do it that way. So that looks pretty good. My black ink pad needs to be re-inked a little bit, but I think that will do. So let's do this. I'll tell you what else I have here with some measurements in just a minute. So I'm just going to hold that for a second and let that black ink transfer. There we are. Really cute. Fun little Santa. And while I'm looking at this, I notice, let me hold it so you can see, like right in the center of his eye right there, it left a little white spot and a little bit here too. So I am just going to grab my Stampin' Right marker in black, and I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of black in there to cover up that little white that was left there. And if you wanted to darken some of your lines, you could use this as well. It does have a bullet tip and a brush tip. So sometimes I use that for a little bit of touch-up. I'm just going to set him aside for a minute. We're going to color him in a few minutes. And now I want to stamp my sentiment. So the sentiment I'm using today is, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." And I'm going to use my Real Red ink pad for that. If I can open it. There we go. So let's ink up our stamp. Then stamp it on here. We're going to die cut this out with one of the dies from the set. Okay, we've got our stamping done. Let's talk about these other pieces here. And before we go any further, let me tell you, this is my website. So you can find all things about me and the Stampin' Squad on my website. All my projects are on there with measurements, shopping lists. Of course, you can shop in my online store. You can contact me through my website. I love hearing from you. I love your questions, your comments, your suggestions. So feel free to reach out to me at any time. This is a piece of designer series paper, and it's really a scrap because I'm going to die cut one of the arches out of this, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you the size of it. It's 3 inches by 4 inches. And then I've got some real red cardstock. Again, I'm going to die cut an arch out of this, but it is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and I've got 2 of those. Another piece of real red, 2 1/2 by 7 1/2. And I want to talk to you about this paper. It is called Christmas Tags and More 6x6 paper. And let me show you the designs that are in here. There are 36 sheets in this package. And there are 8 of this one. This will be fun to make some quick and easy tags or cards or something. We just cut these apart. The back side is this great garden green little kind of like a plaid or a check. And then we've got 8 of this one. Again, super easy design for cards because you can just cut this apart. And the back has all this beautiful mistletoe. 8 of this. We've got our ornaments, another piece that we can cut off. And the back side, let me hold it up here a little bit. It's white and soft seafoam. So a very pale green color. This one, Christmas plaid, love it. Backside, that's what we're using today, this piece. So it's got, I think these look kind of like stars. Maybe they're snowflakes, but it definitely looks Christmassy. Then, besides the pieces of designer series paper, there are 2 sheets of these little punch outs. So it's like die cutting already done for us. And you can see there's a variety of images. So 2 sheets of that pattern and 2 sheets of this pattern. So again, this is going to be a really fun package to use to make some cards and tags in a couple weeks. So that you will be seeing that again. All right, let's color just a little bit here. So I'm going to color my Santa. I want to point out to you, because sometimes people miss this. Now, everybody probably has heard of the Stampin' blends, right? And the Stampin' blends come in many of our Stampin' Up! Colors. They come in a package of 2, a light and a dark of any given color. These happen to be real red, and I am going to be using those. So that's most of our Stampin' blends. However, there is another set of blends, and they are called tones. And so this is all but, I think, one of them. So there are several of them, and you can see they're all of these neutral colors in kind of like beiges, browns. So they make great markers for skin tones, but also for like if you're doing trees or animals or things like that, and you want several different shades of brown or beige. Wonderful. So look up the tones and check those out. You might need to add those to your collection if you haven't already. Now, I created a little cheat sheet for myself. I just grabbed a piece of white cardstock and I put a little patch of each one of the colors. You can see them all here. This one's really pale. It's kind of pink. And then I just wrote the number of the color out at the side. So that way, when I'm looking for a color in this color family, I already know what it's going to look like when I color on my white cardstock. So that's my little cheat sheet that I like to use. Okay, for Santa here, let's just start with his coat and his cap. And I'm going to use my light real red, and let's just come in here and color. Now I let my black ink dry for just a minute just to make sure that I'm not gonna get a smudge. It doesn't tend to smudge, but I found that if you just make sure that it's dry, it's definitely not gonna smudge. So I'm just going in here with this light, real red. And I haven't colored in a while, and I kind of forgot how much I like it. Because these are very easy images to color. They're not super detailed. So it is pretty easy to get in here and apply the color that you want. Okay. So we've got our light, real red in there. And now I'm just going to take my dark and put some little accents in. So I am going to just kind of go right here. Sometimes they give you little hints with their details of where you might want to add a little bit of the darker color. I'm just going to put a little bit there. I tend to look for places where I think a shadow might fall. So right here underneath his beard, that seems like a place where we might see something that appears to be a little darker because it's in the shadow. And also, with clothing anyway, kind of where there are seams, different parts of the clothing coming together. So there we go. I think that's good. Sometimes less is more. I mean, you can put more shading in, but I like to keep it kind of simple. So I've got that. Now I'm going to use light, basic black, and color his boots. Get those colored in. My video got interrupted for just a second, but I'm back, and I wanted to finish coloring our little snowman here. And you know, I talked about the tones. Remember all of these different colors. And in my family, I've got relatives that are most of these colors. So I love that Stampin' Blend came out with those a few years ago, because I can choose. I've got more things to choose from for skin tones. So for my Santa, I'm going to use 400. And I do appreciate that they did that. So we're going to make this really cute Santa. I'm not going to color his nose because I'm going to come back and do kind of a little pinkish color in his nose because he's outside where it's cold. So we'll make his nose a little different color. There we are. There's our cute Santa. Oh, you know what? We need to do hands. I suppose if you wanted to, you could make these mittens. Maybe you could make them green or something. I'm just going to do bare hands on my Santa. There we are. Now, let's get that nose. This is another one of those, whoops, this is another one of those tones. This is 1000. So we'll just color this in real quick. Super cute. And I want to kind of bring his hair and his beard to life a little bit. So I'm going to use light gray granite, and I'm not going to color it in, but I'm just going to put some little accents in here. It gives it a little more dimension. And let's do right below his little mustache here. A little bit in here. And that little part right underneath there. It just adds a little something. All right, lastly, Wink of Stella. I'm going to color in the pom-pom. If you're not familiar, Wink of Stella is a glitter brush. And instead of saying glitter, I think shimmer is a better description, because it doesn't put big chunks of glitter. It just creates kind of a little shimmery look. So it's a nice accent to use sometimes. So I thought it'd be fun to use that on the trim of his coat. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that, the little shimmer happening on the trim. Oh, and I forgot his ears. Oh my goodness. Got to do ears. Let me find my pen again. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay, we've got him done. So I went off camera and did some die cutting. So we've got our little Santa die cut out now, and we've got our larger everyday arches in our Real Red cardstock, and then our designer series paper everyday arch, and then this cute little die to cut out our sentiment. So those are all the pieces we need. All right, so we need to score this. So let me grab my scoreboard. I think you can see that. And we're going to put 2 score lines on this long side. We're going to score at 2.5 and at 5. And then on the short side, we're going to score at 2 inches. So that leaves us with a 1/2 inch of space right here. And I'm just going to turn this around like this and score at 2 inches again. So we have that 1/2 inch section on both sides. Now, we're going to do one more scoring bit here. So I'm going to go to 1 1/4, and I'm going to score just down to this first score line. Then we're going to flip it this way and do the same thing, 1 1/4 down to that score line. All right, easy peasy. Now I'm going to take my paper snips, and I'm just going to cut on this score line right up to that first score line there. Same thing here. And on this side. And right here. Okay. I'm going to fold and burnish here. And you could do that before you cut if you want to. Doesn't matter either way. So let's get all of these score lines folded well so our box will go together easily. And these score lines that just come down to here, that don't go all the way through, I'm going to go ahead and just with my hand, I'm going to bend that. So when I'm ready to put my box together, it knows where it's supposed to go. All right, there we go. So just pinch that in just a little bit. Now, this comes together so easily. All we need is a little dot of glue. Let's see if my glue will come out today. Okay, we just need a little bit of glue here, there, and a little bit right here. It's a little bit stopped up. Okay, now these, I'm going to stand up like this, then I'm going to fold this up and fold them in like this, all right? And I'm just going to squeeze them together here, squeeze them together here. So if you don't use too much glue, it won't take long for this to dry and set up so you can keep going. So I'm going to hold that in place for just a moment. So have you guys started figuring out what you're going to do for Christmas? I have no idea. I do not know. I do not know what we're going to eat. I don't know what we're going to do. I am totally unprepared right now, but I do have a little bit of time to get things ready. So that's good. I need some time. Well, my glue is a little stopped up, so I'm going to grab a different one and see if something else wants to work a little bit better. There we go. That's coming out a little better. Awesome. Now, same thing on this side. We're going to fold this up. We're going to bring it together like that. I'm going to hold this side, hold this side. Just let it sit long enough so it wants to hold together. All right, now I'm just going to see, there's our cute little box. All right, I'm just going to let that sit there for a moment while we get started on this. So first, we want to adhere this on here. And either side of that paper, the second one I'm doing, I'm going to use this side of the paper. See if I can get that centered. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and take this and put it right down here near the bottom. Yeah, I don't remember which glue bottle I was using. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay, maybe just a tiny dot of glue on each one of those corners. Hold that in place for just a second. Okay, now let's start putting this together. I'm just going to put a little glue right here. And now I'm going to take this, lay it face down, and then I'm going to take this and position it on the front of my box. So I get it in place here. And then just need to hold it down for a second. You can take your bone folder and press down on those strips to help make sure they're getting adhered in there. And the glue is great. It is fast drying as long as you don't use too much. So now some on here. And same thing. Now I've got this one. This is the front. So I'm going to put face down. And then place this on here. You just scoot it just a little. When I get it where I want it. There we are. Okay. So same, I'm just going to hold it and press down on that strip on the inside. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my Santa on the front here. And I'm going to do that with dimensionals. And I want to show you something here. So he's going to go right here. And the top of my box, these two sides are going to get pinched together. So I don't want Santa to have to bend like this. That might hurt his neck. So I just put these two dimensionals right here, and then I'm going to put one here. But I'm not going to try to stick him to the paper all the way up to the top. It's really not necessary. He's not going anywhere. So take these off and put him on. So I'm just putting my fingers in here to squeeze him on there. There we are. I love it. He's so adorable. Now, let's take a hole punch. This is a 1/8 inch hole punch. And so remember how I kind of was pinching that so it would know where to go? That comes in handy now. So I'm going to pinch together the front and the back and just hold it with my hand here because I want to punch a hole in here. Let me see if I can get, does that look like the center? It's pretty good. There we are. Awesome. I love it. Okay. Now, what should we put in here? I think, let's see, I've got some candy over here. I've got some M&Ms. So I'm just going to put a couple of these fun size M&Ms down in there. I'll show you with another one that I made. I'm going to fold this over so they go down in there a little better. Another one I made, I put those fun size Snickers in it, so that would work. Lots of the little fun size candies would fit in there very nicely. Okay. Now, I've got a piece of ribbon here, and I don't know if you can see, it's a very shimmery, real red shimmery ribbon. Let's see what it's actually called. Real red. Well, it just says real red ribbon, but it does have a shimmer. So I liked that. We'll use that. So I'm going to just kind of fold it over and start it through that little hole. And then let's get it through the other side here. There we are. Now, push those in. This can come together, and I need more hands at this point, right? 2 hands is not enough, so I'm going to use my reverse tweezers. I'm just going to bring them in and put them right here. So that's going to hold that together. That will pinch it together. Then I've got a piece of red and white twine. This is just some old twine that I had. And I am actually going to run it through between my thumb and forefinger because that helps to straighten it out a little bit. Because, you know, when the twine comes off the little spool, it's very curly. Sometimes it's a little hard to work with if it's still very curly like that. So I'm just going to tie a bow. Let's take away these reverse tweezers. And our little bow. This is what our little box looks like. Super cute. We've got our candy in there. Fun, fun, fun. So I could zhuzh around with this a little bit, but you've got the idea. This is what the little box looks like. Okay, let's put together another one and do something a little bit different. I think you guys are gonna like this. So I've already started, got a lot of things done. I'm using garden green this time. So here are our arches. Here's our arch, the designer series paper. And this time I've got the elf here. Very cute. We do not have garden green as a Stampin' blend. So I used, what is it called? Shaded Spruce. I couldn't think of what it was called. Shaded Spruce, which is another great green color. You see I gave him some little brown hair here. He's adorable. I love those ears. Okay, so now let's put this on. Actually, let's put this together real quick here. And then I've got another fun idea for you for what goes inside and how we close it off. Grab the wrong glue. Let's get the right one here. Well, maybe both of them are not cooperating now. Hold on. I've got lots of glue. Let me grab another one. Let's see if this one, yep, this one wants to work today. Okay. I'm going to put this down. There we go. Set this on. I'm not taking it quite all the way to the bottom. I don't know why. I like the way that looks. So I don't think it would matter if you wanted to push it all the way down to the bottom. I think that would be fine. So let's just press this down a little bit. And while that is drying for a second, we'll put this together. Love, love, love this paper. So you see it's just the reverse side of what I used on the first one. Very Christmassy, very Christmassy. Let's put this on. And I used garden green ink for my sentiment this time. And we could go ahead and put him on here. He's not quite as tall as Santa is. Let's grab some dimensionals. A couple down near the bottom. And one more here. Adorable. Totally adorable. All right, let's put this together. So that goes there. I'm going to set this down on top of it. There we are. Hold it in place. I think I need to scoot it over just a little bit. That's a good thing about glue. You can slide it while it's still wet. So, pressing down here. If you need measurements, remember in the description below my videos, I always have a link down there that goes to the project on my website, and the measurements are there. And all the things that I used, all the products that I used are also there. Okay, let's do something different. This time I thought we'd make it more for an adult. And I got to show you what this is. So I've got a little bag that I got from Amazon. I'll put the link for these bags down in the description as well. So if you want bags of this size, you can get them. This is chocolate mint tea. It is so good. It is so, so good. So I put a couple of tea bags in here, and then also a Biscoff cookie. Yum. Perfect. Perfect little Christmas thing. Oh, I'm just seeing this on his little pom-pom. I did put the Wink of Stella there. So now let's see. What shall we do? I'm going to kind of fold the bag over a little bit, just like that. And I'm going to slip it in here. Here we are. And then I'm just going to take a piece of this ribbon and just tie a little knot around the top. I'm going to use those reverse tweezers again to kind of hold this crunched together. Oops, I need to crunch it together a little more so they can get around it. So I don't know if this is long enough. Let's see. If it's not, we're going to cut another piece. It's kind of short. It's kind of short. Let's cut another piece of this. Something a bit longer. I'm just going to tie a knot. Of course, you could tie a bow if you prefer that. There we go. Getting that done. Then bring that around. Kind of got fumble fingers today. Actually, I think it wants to go this way, so I'm not going to argue with it. There we go. There it is. And again, let's trim that. That's one side, and do this side. There we go. Let me push that down in there a little bit. Let's see, do I have it all the way down in there? I guess I do. Okay, there it is. So we've got a cute little sack that sits in our box. So either way, right, a little cellophane bag that sits down in there with your treats or your tea or whatever it is that you want to give to someone. Or here we put the treats in there and then we tied the top of it shut. Okay, so those are two. Here's one that I made earlier where I did the snowman. So all three of these are so adorable. So in the snowman, I used Granny Apple Green and real red markers, some ribbon, the twine again, and Granny Apple Green ink here. This paper is from, I think it's called Traditions of Christmas, something like that. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here, and I will tell you the name for sure. Yes, Traditions of Christmas. It's the backside of one of these pieces. So, and if you love that paper, look back at last week's video because I made a card with that. It's so pretty. All right, here we go. Two tied shut, one with just a cute little bag inside of it. But here are little Christmas characters, and I think they're so adorable. I hope that you will make some of these because they're not hard. They're very easy. I know you can do it. Okay, thank you so much for being here. I don't remember if I told you this, today's video, instead of live, because you guys know I'm usually live on Monday afternoon, but today's video was pre-recorded because I am on vacation. So I hope that you guys are having fun. I'm sure I'll be having fun. But keep coming back on Mondays. I'll be back with lives again very soon. But I will put videos out here for you. All right. Thank you very much for stopping by today. I hope you have a great week and stay creative. See you soon. Bye-bye.